Good morning to all who are watching. Good evening if you are in the United Kingdom. And wherever else you are, good morning, good evening, good night, whatever it is, I welcome you to Arana Nation. We've got a boatload of new British subscribers to welcome. And what better way to rein in, welcome the new European subscribers to Arana Nation than talk about something that is of vital importance to the United Kingdom, and that is Brexit, and that is also the conservative leadership that is taking place right now. I just want to quickly thank all those who have donated so far. Elizabeth Stafford, Martha Schmidt, Deolinda Staphorst, Richard Langdon, Chantel Frobel, Raghav Chopra. Let me just continue to load more. Bonita Ryan, personal, anonymous, incognito. He was the one who gave that big donation. Brian Ferry, and Rio Aiello, my good friend, who was one of the first people to ever donate to Arana Nation. I want to thank all of you, and again, I want to thank and welcome all those who have subscribed to Arana Nation. Continue to subscribe and become a citizen of one of the greatest nations on social media. Now let's talk about Boris Johnson, who I'm endorsing to become the next leader of the Conservative Tory Party in the United Kingdom and becoming the next Prime Minister. Now, you all know that I talk about things outside of Canada's borders because that's just who I am. I'm interested in all sorts of things. I talk about the Duchess of Thoughts. I talk about Justin Attacking Daddy Trudeau, Donald Trump, all sorts of things I talk about. So I am going to give my 2 cents about what's happening in Britain. I think that Britain needs a prime minister who has a backbone. Britain needs a prime minister who's willing to spit in the European Union's face and say, look, if you're not going to give us a sensible, decent, civilized deal, then to hell with you. Go on, to hell with you, France, to hell with you, Belgium, to hell with you, Netherlands, to hell with you, Germany, to hell with you, Italy, to hell with you, Spain, to hell with you, Portugal, to hell with all of you people in here. Not really to hell with those countries. To hell with the European Union in general. Van Rompuy, all those different people who run the European Union. To hell with all of them. They think they can spite the United Kingdom? We'll go our own way. And there's nothing that's going to happen if the United Kingdom decides to go its own way and pursue no deal. No damn thing is going to happen. The United Kingdom has been around for thousands of years. It's been a very successful country. It saved all of those European countries from Hitler, who would have had them marching up and down, or would have had most of them in the concentration camps. Britain, with the help of America, saved all of them. They resisted Hitler, they resisted Napoleon, and they're going to resist you all a lot as well. There is nothing that's going to happen to the United Kingdom if they say no deal. And that's the smart thing to do. That is the self-respecting thing to do. And Boris Johnson says he is going to do it. Boris Johnson is getting my endorsement. Now, that doesn't mean that come the next election in the UK, I am going to end up supporting the Conservatives. I have to wait and see what Boris does as Prime Minister if he gets elected. I have to wait and see. Will he get out of the EU on October the 31st? Will he try to negotiate a better deal than the deal we have now instead of allowing this deal to go through? Will he also be willing to stick to his guns and be willing to say no deal? These are some of the big vital things I'm looking for to see that Boris Johnson does. And if he goes back on that, then I'm going to cut him loose. I will tear into him so quickly. I'll endorse the Brexit party. But having said that, I do endorse him for leader, and I want to see what he does. The rest of them, I mean, I know Andrea Leadsom is also saying she's willing to go no Brexit. I'm just going to say this. Any Tory leader who gets in there and is not willing to go for no deal, I won't support them. And if they win, I will not be supporting the Tory party, no matter what they do. it'll be the Brexit Party, which could actually win. They're actually ahead in the polls. I mean, they could actually win. And here's the thing, you guys. I know a lot of people in Canada who are supporting this new PPC party are looking to the Brexit party as an example as to, oh, if they can do it, we can do it too. We can win. We can win. They're winning up and down. They're kicking Conservative and Labour butt all over London, all over Manchester, all over Newcastle, all over Bradford, all over Leeds, all over they're beating them all over the. We can do it too. Here's the thing. I'm not saying the PPC in Canada will never win, but I'm saying they're not going to win now. And one of the biggest reasons is because usually when split minor right wing parties win or do well, it's because there's already a conservative government in power. It's the same thing that happened in the 1990s when conservative Prime Minister Brian Mulroney was so hated. I mean, people in Canada literally, they like the plague more than they like Brian Mulroney. And as a result, the Reform Party got in. That wouldn't have been happening. That would not have happened if it was a liberal. This is how people are. They're willing to give the conservatives a chance, and if they mess up, then they're going to go somewhere else. That's usually how it works. So right now, it's not going to happen. It'd be lucky if they even keep Boris. But you know, people will see what happens if the Conservatives win. But let's get back to England now. Boris Johnson was the mayor of London from 4th of May 2008 until the 9th of May 2016. And he was a very popular mayor when he was around. He managed to win twice, 2 terms, big majorities too. He won the first mayoral election in 2008 with 53.2% of the vote. And this is London, a big city, metropolitan city. It would be similar to Rob Ford winning in Toronto. You know, that's why when people bash Toronto, you know, I have to shut them up. You know, when people bash Toronto, bash London, bash New York City, I have to shut them up because the thing is not that the people are stupid. It's that the politicians in those cities on the right are the stupid ones. People like Boris Johnson can do it. Rob Ford can do it. Rudy Giuliani can do it. You would just have to know how to speak to people. San Francisco is a whole different matter. But New York, London, Toronto, I've been to all of those 3 cities. The people are average, ordinary, working class people, a bit loud and sometimes a bit rude and, you know, always in a hurry, but they're just like us. They just live in a big city. It's not overly hippie-ish or anything like that. But Boris Johnson was able to speak to them. That's what you have to do. Don't blame the people, blame the politician. He knew how to do it. He beat Ken Livingstone, which was a pretty popular mayor at the time, beat him with 53%, and in 2012 beat him again with 51%. And his base, Boris Johnson's base, is on the outskirts of London, in the inner suburbs of London. You know, just like Ford Nation was on the outskirts of Toronto. It's the same exact thing. He's a people person. He knows how to touch the souls of individuals, white people, black people, Arab people, even when he's making racial jokes, which personally I find funny. I mean, some people have thin skins. You know, he once said that the burqa looked like a mailbox, and I think he's right, actually. It does look like a mailbox, and he's apologized, but many people find that humorous. He's a humorous guy. He's a bit of a clown, and you know what? That's what I think after so many years of Teresa the Robot May, I think it's time for a little bit of color in Downing Street. Boris Johnson, I think he can speak to people. I think he can speak to the people's wishes. I still will a whole judgment if and when he does become prime minister to see what he does. But on whole, I think he is the one person who can bring average, ordinary people from outside of intelligentsia and outside of the establishment together and support him, because the UK is extremely divided right now. But he was a people mayor, and he is largely adhered to the Conservative Party line, but has adopted more socially liberal stances on issues like LGBT rights. and all that other stuff. So he's not a stuffy one of those individuals who would be divisive on social issues. But at the same time, he's very patriotic, very Eurosceptic, and I think that he is the best one. The main reason I'm supporting Boris Johnson is he is the most powerful voice against the European Union. The one thing I'm concerned about, though, is that he did end up voting for Theresa May's deal in the end, and I think he only did that because he wanted this thing over and done with, which is understandable. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let him get in there. I mean, whoever wins this Tory leadership is going to be prime minister no matter what. It's Tory leadership. The Tories are in power. So he's going to be prime minister. This is what we have to work with right now. I'm not conservative. I'm not a Labour. I'm not any of that stuff. I'm an independent all over the world. I'm an independent. But there are many parties that I would not support. So let's get Boris in there. Let's see what he does. Let's see if he sticks to his word about leaving on October the 31st. Let's see if he sticks to his word of abandoning this deal that Theresa May has. And let's see if he will leave with no deal if it comes to that. And if he doesn't, then we go to Nigel Farage. I personally think that Nigel and Boris should unite if things go well. But in the meantime, let's see what happens. But we got to put him in there. But we should not allow anyone in there who is not willing to say no deal to the European Union. That is the ultimate lack of self-respect if you are so afraid that you cannot take yourself to say no to this entity that really doesn't have our good best interests at heart and has a lot to lose if we say no deal as well. We also have I say we. When I say we, because I'm not even British, because this is a war between freedom and globalism, nationalism and globalism. So when I say we, I refer to myself as being on the nationalist side, along with those who want to leave the EU. So that's why I say we. That's why it slips out. But I'm not British. The British people need to have the courage to say no deal. And yes, they have a lot to lose. But so does the European Union. They have a lot to lose. And many of the individual nations within the EU, especially France and especially Spain, have a lot to lose if the UK leaves without a deal. And especially Ireland. So those are things that have to be considered. So the EU needs to cooperate, needs to be respectful. Otherwise, they can see their whole organization completely crumble and collapse. So I'm endorsing Boris. I back Boris. And as I said, if things don't go the way they're supposed to go, there's always Nigel Farage. There's always the Brexit Party, which is ahead in the polls right now. Actually, the Conservatives are actually in third place. Current UK polls stand Brexit first, Lib Dem second, Labour third, and actually the Conservatives are in fourth. Labour and Conservatives are battling for third place. That's actually unimaginable. It used to, that's crazy. Brexit and Lib Dems in the UK are first and second place. That is absolutely insane. So it goes to show you that the people of the United Kingdom, they want Brexit now even more than ever. There were some people in the media saying, no, they don't want Brexit anymore. They've regretted the decision. The British people not only want Brexit, they want it even more now. They're actually willing to support a party which is only a few weeks old and has never had power in its entire life in order to get this deal. Lib Dems are in second place. They're not in first place. They're in second place. If the British people really, really regretted Brexit, the Lib Dems would be in first place. They would be in first because the Labour Party doesn't know where it stands on Brexit. They're lost with Jeremy Corbyn. They're lost. Okay, I thought I had some respect for Jeremy Corbyn. I don't have any respect for him anymore. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he stands for. He's just doing this, putting his finger in the wind and seeing which way it blows. So they want Brexit and they want it more than ever. And I think the people who are in power should give it to the British people. This is the Arana Nation.